What's going on, family? It's Pt.1, and I'm back with another video. And this video is a very important video. It's probably the most important video that I will have uploaded on my YouTube channel. So that's something to be said. Aside from that, this video is going to be about the TV show Manifest, and it's also going to be about uh, it's also going to be about certain hidden symbolisms or whatever that they've dropped within the show. So if you haven't seen the show Manifest, don't watch the video because I'm gonna drop spoilers. And with that being said, I haven't even completed the whole show. I'm on season 2 right now, and as of right now, I believe there's 3 seasons, and the show actually might have been canceled. I'm not sure if there's going to be a fourth season, but I haven't even made it to the third season yet. So the reason I made this video is because of something that's a reoccurring theme in the show Manifest. So I'm gonna just get right into it. First, we're gonna start out with what Manifest is. When Montego Air Flight 828 landed safely after a turbulent but routine flight, the crew and passengers were relieved. But in the span of those few hours, the world had aged 5 years. And after mourning their loss, their friends, families, and colleagues had given up hope and moved on. Now, faced with the impossible, they're all given a second chance. But as their new realities become clear, a deeper mystery unfolds, and some of the returned passengers soon realize they may be meant for something greater than they ever thought possible. So that's just the basic synopsis of the TV series. And the first episode aired September 24th, 2018. So that's 9/24/2018. 4 plus 2 is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. So that's 969. 9 plus 2 is 11. So that's 911. Well, 9 6 11, which is still 911 in a way. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So it's 962. So what is 9 plus 6 plus 2? 17. And 1 plus 7 is 8. So that's the eighth month of the year is August, right? And I'm going to tell you why I'm doing the mathematics on this in a minute. All right, so we got 962. The number of the flight was 828. We simplified 962 to the number 8. 8, like I said, August is the 8th month of the year. So a lot of the show is surrounded by or centered around the 5 years that the passengers were gone. They took off on a flight, and let's see, they landed in 2019. So 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. So they took off on a flight in 2014, and they landed 5 years in the future in 2019. So Listen to the date or the year 2014. 24 and a teen, right? So 24 is the magic number right now. It aired September 24th, 2018. They in the show they landed 5 years in the future from 2014, 24 and a teen. Now, I'm gonna tell you why the number 24 is significant as we go through the video. But let me continue with this. The flight number was 828. If we interpret that to be a date, it would be August 28th, right? 8 dash or backslash 28. What year, it doesn't specify because you only get those three numbers, right? So first let's see what's 8 plus 2, oops, 8 plus 2 plus 8, 18. 8 plus 1 is 9, which is September is the ninth month of the year. And September is the day, September is the month when this first episode aired. So let's get into August, the eighth month of the year. Let's talk about the Great American Eclipse that happened in 2017. Now, I want to talk about this because in the show Manifest, there are two groups of people outside of those that returned 5 years later on this flight. There are the people called the believers that believe that the people that returned on the flight are some type of chosen people, and the believers are very religious. So they believe there's some type of chosen people, chosen by God. They don't specify what God, but a God, chosen by a God. And they believe that these people have been deified in some type of way. Excuse me. And then you have the Xers. And the way that they spell Xers is capital Xers. Xers. And the Xers are basically like radicals. They are basically like the conservatives in America, right? And the Xers believe that the people that returned on flight 828 are basically a threat to humanity or a threat to United States. They believe that they might have been mind controlled into becoming domestic terrorists and so on and so forth. Some people believe that they might have been abducted by aliens, but they still see that they still perceive them to be a threat to humanity or at least the United States. So the Xers are important because they go around and they find people that returned on flight 828 and they basically vandalize their houses, their cars, and etc. And they paint red X's on them. They paint red X's on, or they spray paint. They spray paint red X's on their doors, on their windows, on their cars, etc. Right? So this is why I wanted to make this video because something occurred to me while watching one of the season 2 episodes. And we're going to go to that right now. And then we're going to get back into the Great American Eclipse. So, this is the episode where they realize that they, well, they first realized that they weren't the only ones affected by this time skip when they had a calling. If you've seen the show, you know what a calling is, but it's basically like a premonition. They received a calling or a premonition to go find this man in the mountains and help him. And this man also had a time skip, but he was never on the plane. He had a time skip while he was in the mountains, freezing to death in a cave. He left in 2017 and to he skipped 1 year ahead to 2019. So he skipped the whole year of 2018 altogether. So this is when they realized that it's not a local phenomenon. It didn't just happen to the passengers of flight 828. It also happens to other people. So one of the other people that this happens to is a bank robber, well, armored truck robber. He robs an armored truck with two other people, and then he murders the two people that he robbed the armored truck with, and then he tries to get escape. He tries to get away, but he ends up driving the armored truck, not the armored truck, but the getaway van into the river. And one more thing to add is that majority of the events of this show are centered around the East Coast, mainly New York. But that might be important later. So, anyways, he drives the getaway van into the river, right? And he's under for 82 hours and 8 minutes. That's how long he was in the river inside of the getaway van. 82 hours and 8 minutes. So that's important because the number of the flight was 828, which they realized after they do their research, the passengers that were on the plane. So the significance of this is that when they pull the van out of the water, the man isn't bloated, which is peculiar because he was in the river for 82 hours, which means he should have been severely bloated and what's it called, waterlogged, and he wasn't. So when they fished the van out of the river, all of the water in the van pours out when they open the door, and the man jumps up. He's back alive. So he is another person that was affected. Now, the thing about this bank robber is, or this armored truck robber is, that 82 hours and 8 minutes after he is pulled out of the van, he somehow dies again, or dies. He dies from drowning. If you watch the episode, he's going to do an interview, and it's going to make him like a big star, right? And he's going to the interview, and they're trying to stop him from exposing the information about the people on the plane that have premonitions or that have callings. But before they get a chance to stop him, and before he gets a chance to do the interview, he just hurls up a lot of water. Like, it was so much water, it was ridiculous. Like, The human body can't even hold that much water. That's how much water he expels. And then he drops dead. So when they're doing their investigation, the passengers from the plane from 828, when they're doing their investigation of what happened, they figure out that he died exactly 82 hours and 8 minutes after he was fished out of the river. So this leads them to surmise that they also have a death date. They um they gonna get into it during the video, but the significance of this video is, as you can see, they surmise that their death date is June 2nd, 2024. So let's get into this video.
Ben.
Dude, just give me 1 second.
Dad, what is it? You're kind of freaking me out. No secrets, remember?
According to the police report, Griffin was underwater for 82 hours and 8 minutes.
828. It's really weird.
Hold on. According to the medical examiner's report, his death was exactly 82 hours and 8 minutes later. So the exact amount of time he was gone is the same. The same exact amount of time he was alive again.
That has to be a coincidence, right? Are you saying Griffin had some kind of expiration date? What does that mean? Does that mean that you could have one too? No. Griffin was evil. He was a criminal. Tell her, Ben. Dad.
Okay, we were gone for 2,037 days. Add that to our date of return. 360.
June 2nd, 2024.
How did you get that so fast?
It's been right in front of us all along. The peacock, goddess, Juno, June. The petrograph, the constellation, Gemini, twins, represents the number 2, June 2nd. Honey, those could be representative of any number. No, I'm not done. Cal's dragon? Like you said, a wooden dragon. It's a craft project. Art the Dragon. The year of the wood dragon in the Chinese zodiac, 2024.
I got the exact same date. June 2nd, 2024. She's right.
No. I just got you back. I can't lose you. We can't tell Cal. He spent 5 years waiting to die. Please, just promise me you're not gonna tell him. You can't go through this again. It's not fair.
It's okay, Ollie. I know. I just didn't know how to tell you.
All right, so that is that scene where they figure out that they might have a possible expiration date or death date, which is June 2nd, 2024. And that is exactly 5 years or 2,037 237 days after they returned in 2019. So, looking at this video, or looking at this scene, it makes me want to calculate 2037, which is a year that is coming up in not the near future, but in the near future, the date or the year of 2037 is coming up. Also, the year 2024. So 2 plus 3 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 3. Didn't really get anything there, but that doesn't mean it isn't significant. Now, let's get back into the Great American Eclipse and the Xers from the series Manifest. So I kind of skipped ahead a little bit in watching the series. I started watching the first episode, of season 3 before I started watching season 2, and I didn't completely finish the first episode, but from what I saw in the first episode of season 3, they're all having premonitions. They're all having callings of the plane that they were on exploding, which is also significant because in season 1, I think episode 1 or episode 2, maybe a little bit later, they all have a calling to go see the plane. And when they go to see the plane explodes. So in season 3, episode 1, they're having a calling that the plane actually exploded in the sky. And I talked about this on Facebook. I actually said that I believe that nearing the end of the series, it was going to be like the TV show Lost, where at the end of the series, on the last episode, they all find out that they had already died. They had been dead. So it was weird in the last episode of Lost. If you haven't seen Lost, this is a spoiler, of course, but it was weird because when they all get to this place, it's like a church or something. Uh, the characters are having a discussion, and one of them says some of them died on the plane when the plane crashed. Some of them died on the island, and some of them died way later after they had left the island. But they all chose a meeting space or a meeting place, and the meeting place was this church, and they all met up at this church or whatever. But my point being is that I believe Manifest is going to be the same way, where they all figure out that they actually died on the plane, and maybe they're living out events in some alternate timeline or something like that. I don't know, but it kind of goes with season 3, episode 1, where they're all having this premonition or this calling that the plane exploded in the sky before it landed or before it had a chance to land. So it makes you wonder about the events of the series from season 1 leading up to the end of season 3. Where are they? Are they all having some type of mass delusion or something? Like, are they all in comas? Are they all in an alternate dimension, an alternate reality? What's going on? Are they all in some type of limbo or some type of heaven or hell, and they just don't realize it yet until June 24th? I mean, June 2nd, 2024, which is their supposed death date. It makes you wonder. But my point being is that it also makes you wonder what's going to happen in the real world, in reality, on June 2nd, 2024, for them to put it in this show about, which is basically supernatural and science fiction, right? So, in one of the episodes I just watched, two passengers that were on flight 828 were having callings. And they were having callings about June 2nd, 2024. And they were, their callings were different because they actually saw the plane exploding before season 3, episode 1. They saw, oh, wait, now they didn't see the plane exploding. They saw themselves dying in a fiery crash, but it turned out that it wasn't them. It was another family in general, altogether, I should say. It was another family altogether. And they were having this premonition that a car drove off the side of a bridge and basically exploded and then fell into the river. But my point of bringing that up is because they were also looking into the callings, and when two of the other passengers from 828 go to their house, they're led into the basement where they find a board, and on the board it has Revelation chapter 20 verse 14. And Revelation chapter 20 verse 14 is, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. So these two passengers believe that they weren't supposed to be alive. They were supposed to die a second death, which at the time they knew nothing about the death date. But they believed, since they were having these premonitions, these callings of a family dying in a fiery car crash, that meant they were supposed to be in the lake of fire and die a second death. So they were going to commit suicide. But eventually, the other two passengers from 828 catch up to them and stop them from committing suicide. But like I said, they knew nothing about the death date of June 2nd, 2024. So the Xers, like I said, I might have to look it up on Google. But the Xers draw X's on people's houses, right? On their doors, on their windows, on their cars. And you see a billboard right here where they actually draw X on flight 828. And like I said, the Xers are like conservatives, basically, that feel like their life is threatened by the passengers of flight 828. So this only occurred to me after watching the episode of the death date, June 2nd, 2024. So when I looked up the date, June 2nd, 2024, nothing significant stuck out. But this is what I found in just looking up the year 2024. The United States gets two back to back solar eclipses on October 14th, 2023, and April 8th, 2024. April, May, June. That's 2 months before June 2nd, give or take. April 8th, 2024. The annular solar eclipse of 2023 crosses the United States from Oregon to Texas. So that's the first one. The annular solar eclipse. You can see it on this map right here. It crosses from Oregon down to Texas and then to the Gulf of Mexico. The total solar eclipse of 2024 sweeps North America from Mazatlan, I don't know how to say that, Mazatlan to Texas, the Midwest, and New England to the Canadian Maritimes, to the Canadian Maritimes. And you can see the 2024 eclipse. Now, these two make an X, and you can see the center of the X is somewhere in Texas. If anybody knows what part of Texas or what city of Texas is right here, or what cities of Texas is right here in the middle of the X, please comment. But that's not the X that I wanted to bring up. All right, let's do this. The first Great American Solar Eclipse. The solar eclipse of August 21st, 2017, dubbed the Great American Eclipse by the media, was a total solar eclipse visible within a band that spanned the contiguous United States from the Pacific to the Atlantic coasts. It was also visible as a partial solar eclipse from as far north as Nunavut in northern Canada to as far south as northern South America. In northwestern Europe and Africa, it was partially visible in the late evening. In northeastern Asia, it was partially visible at sunrise. All right, so this is what I want to look at right here. This is this is even better. This is the map of the 2017 solar eclipse. And then you have the 2024 solar eclipse, which also makes an X. And this X, I'm sorry, The graphics of the picture are horrible. All right, so all right, this is as good as it gets right here. They actually make an X just above Tennessee, and the X is centered on Paducah, Kentucky. And the X is also on what is known as the New Madrid Fault. All right, so I'm gonna try to get a side by side of the New Madrid Fault and the X that marks the spot. All right, so this looks like a good one. This is the New Madrid Fault or the New Madrid seismic zone. You see, it goes the span are almost the span of the Mississippi River. So the New Madrid Fault is centered on the state lines of Tennessee, Arkansas, and what is that, Georgia? I'm not good at geography, don't get mad at me. Okay, so Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Illinois, and Mississippi. That's where the New Madrid seismic zone or the New Madrid fault is centered. And as you can see, Memphis is dead in the center of the New Madrid seismic zone. It's in the red, which is terrible. And just in case you didn't know, I have 901 in my name, Pt.1 901, because I live in Memphis. So this is a map or a legacy of the New Madrid seismic zone. Dark red being extreme shaking, orange being violent shaking, um, light orange or peach being very strong, severe. Yeah, let me start over. Uh, dark red being extreme, orange being violent, the lighter orange being severe, the peach color being very strong, yellow being strong, green being moderate, the circles or the targets being the epicenters, and the blue being the New Madrid seismic zone limit of perceived shaking. Now, blue being the New Madrid seismic zone, and then the lines, which I don't see on the map, being the limit of perceived shaking. So look at all of these cities that it affects. And this isn't even the full map because it's not going to the left all the way. It's not going to the west all the way. But look at all these cities: Little Rock, Jackson, Nashville, Montgomery, Tallahassee, Atlanta, Columbia, Raleigh, Richmond. This isn't even all of the cities in these states. But as you can see from the legacy, all of these states that are covered and the area that these colors cover are perceived shaking. So, not just the cities that are named will be affected, the cities that aren't named are also going to be affected because they are in this range of perceived shaking. All right, so here go the lines right here. Excuse me. Here go the lines right here, which is the limit of perceived shaking. It goes all the way up to Boston and into Canada. And it goes down into Florida right here. So think about this. All right. All of this ties back into the show manifest, by the way. Right up here, if I could let me see. This is what I'm gonna do. I don't know if you guys can. All right, there we go. I'm gonna try to get it a little bit better, just a little bit. Right in here, right in here is where the two eclipses, the one from 2017 and the one that's going to happen in 2024, this is roughly where they meet. And as I said, they meet within the New Madrid seismic zone. And I'm guessing Paducah is somewhere like right around here. Let's go back. Save to photos. All right. So, yeah, I can't do a precise side by side, but if you can imagine, as a matter of fact, you don't have to imagine. Let's see. All right, here we go. You have the New Madrid seismic zone right here, and then you have the two total solar eclipses, or the two Great American solar eclipses, that make an X across the United States, spanning from 2017 to 2014, 2018, 2019. I mean, from 2017 to 2024. Excuse me. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 23, 2024. That's 7 years. So these two eclipses are 7 years apart. And they make an X over the United States. Not only that, they make an X over the New Madrid seismic zone. And like I said, you have certain cities which are going to be in the epicenter of the New Madrid seismic zone. Memphis, Tennessee being one of them. Uh, Cairo, Illinois being one of them. New Madrid, I think, which is in Missouri, being one of them, and other cities as well. But not a lot of cities which are in the dark red, right? All right, so this is just a map which was supposedly going to be from the second season of Lovecraft Country, which I haven't watched before, but I thought it was interesting. If you, excuse me, if you look at the legend, green are the tribal nations of the West, white are the white lands, black is the new Negro Republic, and yellow is Jefferson Commonwealth. Season 2 of Lovecraft Country begins in a new world. And that new world is a country that sits precisely where the United States used to sit. Welcome to the sovereign states of America. And Misha Green, I guess she plays in Lovecraft Country. Like I said, I haven't seen it before, but she tweeted this and then eventually removed it or deleted it. And it says, a taste of the season 2 Bible. And a Bible is basically a script in Hollywood terms. Wish we could have brought you Lovecraft Country, Supremacy. Thank you to everyone who watched and engaged. Hashtag no Confederate. The next generation. So this was supposed to be season 2 of Lovecraft Country. And as you can see, you have tribal nations of the West, which is basically the entire West Coast, which now it is the entire West Coast. You have the White Lands, which is what is considered the Midwest up into some of the East Coast. Then you have the new Negro Republic, which is the South, of course. And then you have Jefferson Commonwealth, which is in the East Coast or the Northeast Coast, the upper North and the Northeast Coast. So I just thought that was interesting. And what another thing that's interesting is that they canceled Lovecraft Country, so we don't know how far into the future season 2 would have been set. But I'm guessing it would have been the 2020s or maybe the 2030s. Who knows? All right, so like I said, the second Great American Eclipse, God dang, there we go. The second Great American Eclipse happens April 8th, 2024. That is 2 months before June 2nd, 2024. The first eclipse happened August 21st, 2017. That is 2 months after June 2nd, 2017. So let's do this. Let's go back to 2017. Let's go August. That is the right date, right? Yeah, August 21st, 2017 to April 2nd, 2024. April 8th, my bad, excuse me. April 8th, 2024. Let's go to 2024. Let's go to April. Oops. Nope. April 8th. Let's include the end date in the calculation. You get 23 days. So 2,423 days. So right off the bat, you get the number 24. And I told you the number 24 was important. Why? Because that is the year of the death date in the show or the series Manifest. Right? So 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 3 is 9, 10, 11 is 11. Why is the number 11 significant? I'm going to tell you in a minute. All right. 6 plus 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. That's significant because it is an occult number. Simplified, it is the number 4, which isn't really significant. And I don't really want to get into all the other, all the other numbers. If you're wondering what I did with the 4 plus 6 plus 3, I'm looking at the weeks. That's 346 weeks and 1 day. So if you add the 1 day to the number 13, that's 14. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 might be significant, but in terms of what I'm looking for, is not significant. All right, so from August 21st, 2017 to April 8th, 2014 is exactly 6 years, 7 months, and 19 days, or 79 months and 19 days. All right, so 9 plus 7 is 16. 6 plus 1 is 7. 9 plus 1 is 10. If we were to add 7 and 10 together, that's 17. 7 plus 1 is 8, which is August, which first, the first eclipse happened in August of 2017. If you were to do 6 plus 7 plus 19, simplifying 19 to 10, uh, 10 plus 7, 17, 17 plus 6, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23. And that's significant because 23 is an occult number, but it also goes into the days. 2,423 days, or 2423. See, it all comes back around full circle. And a lot of people might not agree with this. They might say that, okay, you just adding up numbers and it just so happens to coincide with some of these numbers that you're looking at, which might be true. I might be trying to, excuse me, I might be trying to, what's the expression? Thread a camel through the eye of a needle or something like that. I don't remember the expression, but I might be reaching in modern terms. It might be that way, but I know there is a large majority of people that know that I'm not reaching as well. See, look, Monday, August 21st, 2017 was the first eclipse. Monday again, April 8th, 2024 is the second eclipse. What's the chances of both of the eclipse or eclipses happening on a Monday? What's the chances of both of the eclipse together making an X across the United States? What are the chances of that X being centered in the New Madrid seismic zone? What are the chances? Astronomical, right? The chances are astronomical. 2 plus 4, I'm doing the days. 2 plus 4 is 6. We know 6 is an occult number. We know 23 is an occult number. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 6, or 6 plus 5, is 11. 11 is an occult number. So I want to get into the importance of the numbers 7 and 11 now. I want to get into the importance of 7 and 11 because as of today, July 9th, 2021, 7-Eleven is just 2 days away. So it could be 7-Eleven in a future year, or it could be 7-Eleven of this year. But either way, if you go back and watch President Trump's presidency, if you go back and watch some of his speeches or some of his interviews where he talks about 9/11, September 11th, he never says 9/11. He always says 7/11. This is a fact. Go back and watch some of his interviews or some of his speeches where he talks about 9/11. He says 7/11 every time. Now, he could just be an asshole, which I admire about President Trump because he's a Gemini just like I am. He was born in June, though. Hmm, think about that. He's a June Gemini. The date from the show Manifest is June 2nd, 2024. The zodiac of Gemini starts in May. May 22nd or 23rd, right? So June 2nd is within that time frame of the zodiac of Gemini. It extends from, I believe, May 22nd or May 23rd to June 22nd or June 23rd. So June 2nd is within that time frame. But now, my point of bringing that up, like I was saying, he could just be an asshole and refer to 9/11 as 7/11 because we know most Middle Easterns or most Muslims own gas stations. Now, this is not bigotry. This is not hate speech. This is not racism of any kind. This is just a known fact. Most Middle Easterns or most Muslims own gas stations in America. Now, getting on the point of President Trump, like I said, he could have been an asshole and he could have been referring to 9/11 as 7/11 because supposedly Middle Eastern terrorists attacked New York City, attacked the Towers on September 11th. So it sounds believable that he could have just been an asshole. Like I said, which I admire about him. But it's also known that the government, not just the United States government, but governments around the world are occultic in nature. A lot of government officials are in brotherhoods, secret societies, the Skull and Bones, the Rosicrucians, the Knights Templar, the Illuminati. They are in the Masons. They are in secret societies. I don't know if I said Masons twice, but I feel like I said Skull and Bones first. So Skull and Bones and Masons. So it is a well-known fact that a lot of the world's governments are occultic in nature, and a lot of government officials are into the occult, which is the hidden. They are into hidden knowledge. They are into withholding hidden information or hidden knowledge, and they are also into exposing hidden information or hidden knowledge. But when they do expose that hidden information, they have to mix it with lies. That's why they drop it in fiction. They drop it in books. They drop it in TV shows. They drop it in movies. They drop it in video games. They drop it in cartoons because it is fiction. So they have to mix truth with lies. They can't just flat out give you the truth because you're not supposed to know the whole truth. Then what's the point of a secret society, of an occult society? They don't want you to know the whole truth because then they don't have any power. They don't have any control. They don't have any say so. Now, is former President Trump in a secret society? I have no idea. I have no clue. I would venture to say yes, maybe he is. But I don't believe he's in league with these other secret societies. I don't believe he's in league with these other government officials because you have to remember he was never a government official before he became president. I believe he did try to drop gems, drop jewels, drop knowledge on the people of the United States and possibly the people of the world. He was trying to drop secrets about these hidden occult um, systems and their plans for their new world order. And that is why they wanted him out of office. So there was a recent interview. Excuse me, y'all. I have to pause for a second. Back to what I was saying. Now, there is this interview. I want to say it was recent, maybe like a few weeks ago or a month ago, where President Trump says, or former President Trump says, that he will be back in office by July or August. You have another 7 and another 8. So, I think I did that before. 7 plus 8, 15. 5 plus 1 is 6. Nothing significant. But all right, so aside from President Trump saying this, you have all of these government officials as well as these people that work closely with the government or government officials saying that um, more than likely he will be reinstated as president by July or August. Do we believe this? I don't know. I told a friend of mine, I said, I tend to take everything with a grain of salt or take or not take everything at face value until I see it for myself. So they say they have all this overwhelming evidence, right? And once this evidence comes to light that President Trump or former President Trump will be instated or reinstated as president by July or August. So, my point of bringing up 7-Eleven, could there be something that happens, another supposed terrorist attack on July 11th? Maybe not this year, maybe 2022, maybe 2023, maybe 2024. There's a possibility that something like that may happen. What else? All right, so getting back to the show Manifest. June, wait, no, let me start. Let me start right here. They left in 2017. No, 2014. They left in 2014 and came back in 2019. President or Donald Trump was still president in 2019. The show aired in 2018. So this is what I want to get into. The show aired in 2018. In the show, the plane lands 5 years in the future in 2019. Then look at this. 2020 or December of 2020, President or Joe Biden becomes president. Really, he becomes president in 2021, but he was elected president supposedly in December or November of 2020. This show aired in 2018. That's what I'm trying to stick on. I'm trying to stick on this. The supposed death date is 2024, June 2nd. So from 2018 to 2024, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, that's 6 years into the future. That's 6 years, or five and a half. They were gone for 5.5 years. In the show, they were gone 5.5 years, and they come to this conclusion that 5 years from where they are now, 2019, supposedly they're going to die. Or 5.5 years from where they are, which is 2019, they are going to die. Presidents only um, only have the office for 4.5 years before the next election. It might sound like a bunch of scrambling, but I'm trying to make a point. All of this adds up in some kind of way. It adds up in my head, but I'm trying to explain it in a certain way where you can understand it. Let's get into these scriptures, okay? Before we get into these scriptures, I want to say that like I said, 5.5 years from 2019 is 2024. Joe Biden has been president for what, 2 years now? A year and a half? So he was elected president in 2020. He has less than 4.5 years before his presidency ends. Because we are in the year or nearing the end of the year of 2021. So before the year 2024, what is going to happen? Or before President Biden's, um, what's the word, tenure is up, or presidency is up, what is going to happen in the span of the 3 years that he has left in office? That's what I think this show is trying to convey because the timelines are too closely linked. That's what I'm trying to explain. So, we get into these scriptures. They've changed the Bible app, so excuse me. Poverty, no. I don't know what's going on with the Bible app. All right, here we go. Hmm. Still not what I'm looking for. Revelation 13:5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40. Oh, that's why. And 2 months. I did spell 40 wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. So look at this. And power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months. 42 months is 3.5 years. 42 months is 3.5 years. The same length as an American presidency, right? Because in their actual fourth year, the next run for president or the next presidential election begins. So they only get 3.5 years. Like I said, when the show Manifest first aired, Donald Trump was still in office. He was still president. Let's see when he became president. From 2017 to 2021. But we know that he the presidency only lasts 3.5 years. So in 2020, excuse me, trying to stay hydrated. So in November of 2020, his presidency was up. technically, as soon as the presidential elections started. Let's look at Joseph Biden. He assumed office in January 20th, 2021. So, 22, 23, 24. His presidency technically ends in November 2024. That's his 3.5 years. Even though they say he will be president until the next president assumes office in January of 2025, which technically gives him 4 years. But we can see how it's only 3.5 years. Why am I going into scripture? Why am I going into Revelations? Because as I showed you, I didn't show you the actual scene, but in the show Manifest, in one of the episodes of the second season, they actually display a verse from Revelation. Revelation chapter 20, verse 14. Before we get to Revelation chapter 20, we see in Revelation chapter 13 that the beast is given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months, or 3.5 years. Sounds like a presidential election. We give the presidents their power through the elections. We elect who we are going to put into power. And then they have 3.5 years to continue. So let's read Revelation chapter 13. The two beasts. There's two of them. And I stood upon the sands of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, this could be a literal sea, or this could just be like a sea of people. And upon his horns 10 crowns. He had 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon those 10 horns he had 10 crowns. And upon his 7 heads the name of blasphemy. So this is one beast with 7 heads. So these are 7 people in power. Right? 7 people in power, but they're all a part of the same beast. And this beast has crowns. This is how you know those people are in positions of power. And these people, these heads of state, or these heads of countries, have the name of blasphemy upon their heads. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. I'm telling you, it sounds like a president, not just a president of the United States, but a person given a position of power in any country. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. So, supposedly, one of these seven people in a position of power are wounded to death, but their wound is healed. They survive. And all the world wondered after the beast. So all the world will wonder after this person or after this beast with seven heads. I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Like, these seven people make up one beast. One of the seven people is wounded to the point of death, but they survive. Their wound is healed. And the whole world wonders after this beast in totality. So all seven of these people who are all confederate together, right? They're all confederate together. They're all a part of this same beast system. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Who is able to make war with these seven heads, or with these seven people, who more than likely has a vast army behind him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months, or 3.5 years.